El Filibusterismo, Chapter 19 Summary. Chapter Title: The Fuse. Setting: Puente de España. Placido Penitente meets Simon while looking for something to do since that he has dropped out of school. Placido Penitente storms out of class, sobbing and enraged. He notices a carriage with Padre Sibayla and Don Custodio inside and decides to toss Padre Sibayla into the lake. Placido Penitente is walking along the escolta when he notices priests giggling at the entrance to Chinaman Quiroga's bazaar. He feels compelled to battle them. Placido Penitente returns to the silversmith's house, where he is staying, and considers returning to the province to demonstrate to the friars that they should not treat him in this manner. He considers writing a letter to his mother. He is considering transferring after completing the class. He considered to Ateneo to finish the class, but the Dominicans would not allow it. Cabezang Andang had recently arrived from Batangas. Placido Penitente appears to be depressed, which she observes. She mentions Capitana Simona, whose son is going to be a priest. As a result, she will no longer repay Cabezang Andang for her debts. Cabezang Andang sobs as she learns that Placido Penitente has dropped out of school, claiming that she promised his dead father that he would become a lawyer. Cabezang Andang claims that she is not requesting Placido's support for the friars, but rather that he be modest and patient. Placido Penitente gets up and goes for a walk. He becomes hungry and realizes he lacks funds, so he returns home. Cabezang Andang isn't at the neighbor house to play pangigi, but she's there, and she informs Placido Penitente that she will assist him in returning to the Dominicans. Placido Penitente claims that joining the Tulisans would be preferable to returning to school. Placido Penitente is on his way to the docks once more. He notices ships leaving for Hong Kong and resolves to travel there. He had previously heard from the silversmith about a charity that gave silver things to friars. The friars sold the artifacts for money and replaced them with replicas made of raw silver produced in Hong Kong. Placido Penitente interprets this to suggest that business in Hong Kong is booming. Placido Penitente attends the fair and observes Simon bidding farewell to a foreigner. When he hears the word Hong Kong, he gets excited. Simon, who used to sell diamonds in his hometown and tell him stories, is someone he recognizes. Placido Penitente calls Simon as he is about to board a carriage and asks for a favor. He expresses an interest in seeing Hong Kong, but Simon instructs him to accompany him to Iris Street. To get to Iris Street, they take a carriage. They pass Isagani and Paulita Gomez, as well as Doña Victorina and Juanito Pelaez on the way down. Placido observes that he appears to be content, perhaps referring to Juanito Pelaez, while Simon remarks, "He merely serves for that. It's great to be young," perhaps referring to Isagani. To whom were Placido and Simon alluding? The chapter wonders. However, the answer is not supplied and the reader is left to figure it out. Simon and Placido Penitente navigate their way through a maze to a yard with a cabin surrounded by banana and bonga palm trees. Placido Penitente wonders if it's a pyrotechnist's home castelero. Placido Penitente is surprised by Simon's good Spanish when he speaks to him. Simon inquires about the gunpowder and bombs. Yes, the pyrotechnist responds, but he needs the cartridge shells first. The pyrotechnist is told by Simon to go at night and meet with the lieutenant and corporal. He's meant to meet a man in a banca in Lamayan. When the pyrotechnist yells, "Cabeza," the man will respond with "Tales." As he arrives and replaces the pyrotechnist, Placido Penitente is asked by Simon if his good Spanish has surpassed him. He says that the pyrotechnist is actually a school teacher who wished to teach Spanish to youngsters, but was exiled for disrupting the peace and being a friend of Ibarra's. Simon trained him as a pyrotechnician. They return to the main street, where Simon encounters a crutch-wielding Spaniard. Simon warns him to be ready since it will happen next week. Placido Penitente is asked by Simon if he is astonished to see a sickly young Spaniard. The Spaniard was well 2 years ago, but his adversaries forced him to labor in Balabac, where he developed rheumatism and malaria. The Spaniard had married a lovely young lady. Simon and Placido Penitente go to Simon's house in Escolta. 2 hours later, Placido Penitente leaves. Simon is in a room looking out at Pasig River. He looks towards the walled city of Manila and tells himself that he will free Maria Clara and cleanse the country. Simon stops, and his conscience tells him that he is part of the wicked city of Manila. He feels guilty. For the first time in his criminal career since in Havana, Simon tries to push away his doubts and fears even as ghosts that want revenge cry out to him. Simon starts to tremble, which has never happened before. Simon looks out Pasig and feels sick. He is reminded of his father dying in prison and the face of another man who sacrificed his life for him, believing he would help the rebirth of the country. Simon tells himself he can't turn back because he has done evil in order to do good. Simon tries to sleep. The next morning, Placido Penitente listens to Cabezang and Dan's plans about getting help from the procurator of the Agustinians. He tells her to return to the province to give the procurator a gift and several masses so he will be convinced to help. Points of note: Placido sees Padre Sibayla with Don Custodio, the man who holds the power to decide whether or not to approve the establishment of the Spanish Academy. Simon's rebellion is planned to begin in the suburbs and is comprised of abused and vengeful men, bandits like Cabezang Tales who are seeking for justice, soldiers who he had made to believe that the Governor-General wanted them to create a riot with the civil guards so that the general would have a reason to lengthen his stay in the Philippines. Men who he had made to believe that the soldiers and civil guards were planning an attack on the convent. This way, the men and the civil guards will have to fight against the soldiers, and the bandits and the rest of the group can freely take on the town when its defenses are crippled. Simon's rebellion is organized for one goal: revenge. Why does Placido say that he no longer has any opportunity to continue his education? There is only one university for his chosen career that time, the University of Santo Tomas, and the people there do not want him and will no longer accept him. Why was the former teacher of San Diego terminated? He wanted to teach well and in the proper manner. He became an enemy of the church and the government, who equally didn't want the natives to learn much about anything. Why does the rebellion have to go earlier than planned? Simon hears the news that Maria Clara is at the brink of death. What is the fuse to Simon's rebellion? The uprising is like a bomb that has long been ready but is lacking a fuse so that it can light up and detonate. Simon's rebellion has one goal: to rescue Maria Clara.